When you sit down to eat, it may feel like a simple act. You're hungry, so you reach for food. But what if I told you that every bite you take is more than just a moment of nourishment? Every bite is a prescription. It carries instructions that tell your body how to operate, how to repair, how to age, and even how to defend itself against disease. This isn't poetic exaggeration, it is the biology of nutrition. Food is chemistry, and chemistry writes the story of your health. When we think of prescriptions, we picture bottles of pills labeled carefully by a doctor, measured precisely by a pharmacist. But the foods you eat are no less powerful. A plate of leafy greens floods your bloodstream with magnesium, which calms your nervous system and regulates your blood pressure. A handful of walnuts delivers omega-3 fatty acids that soothe inflammation in your arteries, protecting your heart. Even a simple apple supplies soluble fiber that lowers cholesterol and feeds beneficial bacteria in your gut. None of these foods come with labels or barcodes reminding you of their effects, but your body knows. It receives those compounds and puts them to work instantly. This perspective changes the way we think about meals. Instead of seeing food as mere fuel, you begin to see it as medicine in motion. Breakfast is not just a way to start your day, it's a morning prescription for energy, focus, and balance. Lunch is not simply a pause in your schedule, it's a midday dose for immunity and resilience. Dinner becomes less about indulgence and more about repair and restoration after the wear of the day. With this awareness, meals shift from automatic routines to intentional opportunities for healing. Philosophically, this reminds us of something profound. Your body is not built in a doctor's office. It is built in your kitchen, your grocery store, and even in the quiet choices you make when no one is watching. Every cell in your body, your skin cells, your brain cells, your heart cells, are literally constructed from the raw materials you provide. If you give your body junk, it has to build with junk. If you give it strength, color, freshness, and life, it builds with vitality. This is not only science, it's also an empowering truth. You are not a passive recipient of health or disease. You are an active participant in shaping it every day. There is also a psychological dimension to this idea of food as prescription. When we take pills, we often feel dependent, sometimes even powerless. But when you see food as medicine, you reclaim agency. You stop waiting for someone else to fix you. You recognize that your hands, your choices, your meals are powerful tools of self-healing. This changes your relationship with eating itself. Suddenly, food is not just comfort, habit, or convenience. It is self-respect in action. Each bite becomes a declaration. I am choosing health. I am choosing life. Let's take a simple example. Imagine two different breakfasts. One is a sugar-loaded pastry and a cup of coffee. It tastes good for a moment, but within an hour your blood sugar crashes, your energy fades, and your mood dips. The prescription you've just written for yourself is one of instability, fatigue, and inflammation. Now imagine the alternative: a bowl of oats topped with berries, a sprinkle of nuts, and a drizzle of honey. That meal sends a completely different set of instructions. Steady energy, antioxidant protection, satiety that lasts for hours. It is a prescription for balance. The foods may seem ordinary, but the biological instructions they carry are profound. And here's what's remarkable: your body responds quickly to these choices. Within days of choosing better foods, your energy begins to rise. Within weeks, your blood pressure, cholesterol, and blood sugar levels shift toward balance. Within months, your risk of chronic illness dramatically decreases. These changes are measurable, visible, and real. You don't need to wait years to feel the effects of your food prescriptions. They begin almost immediately. What this ultimately teaches us is that meals are never neutral. They are either strengthening your body or weakening it. They are either calming inflammation or feeding it. They are either opening the door to disease or closing it. Every bite is a message, a command, a prescription. And you get to write that prescription 3 times a day, every day for the rest of your life. So the next time you sit down to eat, don't ask yourself only, am I hungry? Ask yourself, what instructions am I giving my body right now? What prescription am I writing with this bite? That simple question can transform the way you eat, the way you live, and the way you heal. Food is not passive. It is active medicine, and the prescription is in your hands. If food is truly medicine, then the gut is where that medicine is either absorbed and put to work or lost entirely. Healing begins at the core, and that core is your digestive system. Many people underestimate just how powerful the gut is. They think of it as nothing more than a tube where food passes through. But in reality, it is the command center for your health, the gateway between the outer world and your inner body. Everything you eat is filtered, processed, and judged by this system before it becomes part of you. If the gut is strong and balanced, health radiates outward. If the gut is weak and inflamed, imbalance spreads everywhere. Science confirms what ancient wisdom has taught for centuries. The gut is central not only to physical health, but also to mental clarity and emotional stability. Around 70% of your immune system resides in the digestive tract. This means that your ability to fight infections, to resist disease, to heal wounds is deeply tied to the state of your gut. When you nourish it with fiber, prebiotics, and living bacteria from fermented foods, you give your immune system the reinforcements it needs to protect you. When you feed it processed sugar, artificial chemicals, and nutrient-empty foods, you weaken your defenses and open the door to illness. But the gut's influence goes even further. Inside your intestines lives a vast community of microbes, trillions of them, working quietly on your behalf. They digest what you cannot. They manufacture vitamins, they regulate hormones, and they even send chemical signals to your brain. This gut-brain connection is why you feel butterflies when you're nervous or stomach tension when you're stressed. It also explains why people who feed their gut poorly often experience not just physical symptoms, but emotional ones: anxiety, depression, brain fog, and fatigue. A healthy gut literally creates a healthier mind. There is a deeper philosophy here. The gut is a filter. It decides what to let in and what to reject. That is not unlike the choices you face in daily life. Every day, you are exposed to influences, some nourishing, some toxic. The wisdom of the gut is the wisdom of discernment, to accept what builds strength, to reject what weakens, to hold on to what sustains. When you care for your gut, you are not only protecting your health, you are practicing a discipline of discernment that echoes into every part of life. So, how do you protect this core? The solutions are not complicated. A diet rich in fiber from vegetables, fruits, legumes, and whole grains feeds the healthy bacteria in your gut. These fibers act like fertilizer, helping beneficial microbes thrive. Fermented foods such as yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, and kimchi deliver living cultures that restore diversity to the gut ecosystem. Herbs and spices like ginger, garlic, and fennel soothe digestion and reduce inflammation. And even simple rituals, drinking enough water, eating slowly, chewing thoroughly, support the body's ability to break down food and absorb its healing properties. On the other hand, processed foods, artificial sweeteners, excessive alcohol, and constant stress disrupt this delicate ecosystem. They strip away beneficial bacteria, leaving behind an environment where harmful microbes flourish. Over time, this imbalance leads to leaky gut, chronic inflammation, allergies, skin conditions, and even autoimmune diseases. What begins as a problem in the gut never stays in the gut. It spreads silently until it becomes a full body condition. The encouraging news is that the gut responds quickly to care. Within days of eating more fiber and fermented foods, the balance begins to shift. Within weeks, inflammation reduces, digestion improves, energy returns. Within months, the ripple effect touches everything: immunity, hormones, mood, even sleep. Your body is always listening to how you feed your gut, and it rewards you generously when you choose wisely. And there is one more layer to this: the act of eating itself. When you eat mindfully, without rushing, without distraction, your body digests more effectively. Stress hormones lower, digestive enzymes increase, and the gut does its job more efficiently. In other words, the way you eat is just as important as what you eat. A calm meal becomes a therapeutic ritual, a moment where you align with the deeper wisdom of your body. So let me leave you with this thought. If the gut is the foundation of health, then every meal is an opportunity to strengthen that foundation or weaken it. When you protect your gut, You are not just improving digestion. You are fortifying your immune system, sharpening your mind, balancing your hormones, and protecting your future. Healing begins in the gut. Protect it, nourish it, and it will transform everything else. When we talk about the power of food, it's easy to think in general terms: better nutrition, more energy, stronger immunity. But food does more than just support overall health. It has the ability to target the specific illnesses that dominate our lives today, the very conditions that so many people fear: diabetes, heart disease, hormonal imbalance, even the signs of aging are not random. They are influenced, triggered, and often accelerated by the choices made at the table, which also means they can be slowed, reversed, or prevented by those same choices. Let's start with diabetes, a condition that now affects hundreds of millions worldwide. It is often described as a genetic disease, something inevitable, but food makes all the difference in whether or not those genes are expressed. When you eat berries, for instance, you're not simply enjoying a sweet treat. You're consuming compounds that slow sugar absorption, lower inflammation, and improve insulin sensitivity. Leafy greens like spinach and kale flood your body with magnesium, a mineral that helps regulate blood sugar at the cellular level. In other words, these foods don't just fill your stomach, they directly intervene in the very pathways that define diabetes. Now think about heart disease, the leading cause of death across the globe. We often picture clogged arteries and think of them as unchangeable. But every meal you eat is either hardening those arteries or softening them. Omega-3 rich foods like salmon, walnuts, and flax seeds reduce plaque buildup and calm inflammation in blood vessels. Garlic helps lower blood pressure. Even dark chocolate, in moderation, has compounds that improve circulation. Each choice is like a vote. You're either voting for the disease to grow stronger, or you're voting for your heart to keep beating with strength and rhythm for years to come. Then, there's the matter of hormonal balance, something people rarely connect to food. Hormones are like the body's communication system. They regulate everything: energy, sleep, mood, fertility, and even metabolism. When that system is out of balance, the consequences can be overwhelming fatigue, mood swings, infertility, weight gain. Yet simple foods can help bring order back. Seeds like flax, sunflower, and pumpkin contain compounds that balance estrogen and progesterone in women. Legumes and lentils provide steady plant-based protein that supports hormone stability. Healthy fats from avocados and nuts give the body the building blocks it needs to produce hormones in the right amounts. And for men, zinc-rich foods like pumpkin seeds and chickpeas are critical in supporting testosterone and reproductive health. We're not talking about complicated, inaccessible solutions. We're talking about foods you can find in any market, used with wisdom and consistency. And then there is aging. Many people resign themselves to the idea that aging means decline, loss of memory, loss of muscle, loss of independence. But the truth is that aging is not only a matter of years, it's a matter of cellular damage. Foods rich in antioxidants like blueberries, pomegranates, and green tea actively slow this damage. Protein-rich foods like eggs, fish, and beans preserve muscle mass, which is the key to staying active and independent. Even something as simple as olive oil provides healthy fats that protect the brain and joints from deterioration. Aging cannot be stopped, but the quality of aging, whether it is a story of decline or of resilience, is written largely by what you choose to eat. On a deeper level, this reveals something profound. Illness is not an enemy that appears suddenly out of nowhere. It is the result of accumulated choices, a story written meal by meal, day by day. And healing is not a miracle that comes from outside. It is the quiet correction of those choices over time. Each food you put into your body carries meaning. It carries consequences. It carries the power to turn the tide of disease or to reinforce it. That is why food is not only medicine, it is strategy, it is prevention. It is your most loyal partner in the fight against the conditions that shorten lives and steal vitality. The beauty of this is that change does not require perfection. You don't need to overhaul your diet overnight or live on kale smoothies. What matters is direction. Small, consistent changes, adding more vegetables to your plate, swapping processed snacks for nuts or fruit, Choosing fish instead of fried meats begin to create a different biological reality inside you. Over time, those small changes accumulate into protection, resilience, and longevity. So the next time you sit down to eat, I want you to ask yourself, is this meal fighting for me or against me? Because the truth is, food is never neutral. It is always shaping your future, always influencing the trajectory of your health. Food is not just nourishment. It is your daily weapon against disease. Wield it wisely, and it can transform your destiny. When we reach this final point, the conversation about food becomes something larger than nutrition. It becomes about responsibility, discipline, and the way we choose to live. Because food is not only about healing our bodies in moments of crisis, it is about protecting them before those crises even arrive. Prevention is the highest form of medicine, and food is the most reliable tool we have to achieve it. Think for a moment about the way most people approach health. We tend to wait until something goes wrong before we act. The blood sugar climbs, the blood pressure spikes, the cholesterol numbers shift in the wrong direction. Only then does food suddenly become important. But real wellness is not built on reaction. It is built on preparation. And food gives us that preparation in the most natural, powerful way. Consider the immune system. It is your body's army, the silent guardian that protects you from infections, viruses, and even abnormal cells that could become cancer. Every day, it scans your body like a radar, looking for invaders. But like any army, it needs supplies to be strong. Vitamin C from citrus, zinc from seeds, antioxidants from colorful vegetables. These are not just nutrients, they are weapons. They sharpen the immune response, making it faster, smarter, more precise. That means that long before illness appears, your body is already resisting it, already defending you. That is prevention in action. Now think about inflammation, something scientists now recognize as the root of nearly every chronic disease. It is like a slow, burning fire inside the body. Left unchecked, it damages arteries, joints, the brain, and even DNA. The irony is that this fire is often fed by the very foods we consume every day: processed sugars, fried oils, artificial additives. Yet the same fire can be cooled by other foods. Turmeric, ginger, berries, leafy greens, they act like water on that fire, calming it before it can destroy. Prevention is not dramatic. It does not come with alarms or sudden symptoms. It is quiet, subtle, invisible. But in that silence, your future is being safeguarded. There is also the matter of energy. Not the kind of energy that gets you through one afternoon, but the kind of steady vitality that determines how you age. Preventive eating is about choosing foods that sustain rather than deplete, that build rather than break down. Whole grains keep blood sugar steady, ensuring that your energy does not crash and trigger overeating or fatigue. Lean proteins repair tissues, making sure the body recovers faster from daily stress. Hydrating foods like cucumbers, melons, and soups protect against the gradual dehydration that accelerates aging. When you feed your body preventively, you are not only avoiding disease, you are cultivating stamina, endurance, resilience. On a psychological level, prevention through food also changes the way you see yourself. It shifts your relationship with health from passive to active. Instead of waiting for a doctor to give you a prescription, you become the first doctor you consult every single day. This shift is empowering because it reminds you that your health is not something that just happens to you. It is something you co-create. Every bite is a choice, and every choice is a form of self-respect. Philosophically, this also teaches us a deeper lesson about time. Disease often feels sudden, but in truth, it is gradual. It is the sum of years of choices. Prevention works in the same way. It is the sum of years of wiser choices, small daily acts that seem ordinary, but accumulate into extraordinary results. Eating an apple today will not make you immortal, but eating nourishing foods consistently builds a body that resists decay, resists weakness, resists decline. It is a philosophy of investing in tomorrow by being mindful today. And this is where the idea of meals as medicine becomes most profound. Medicine, in the conventional sense, is often about repair, fixing what has gone wrong. But food as medicine is about foresight. It is about recognizing that what you eat is either an investment or a withdrawal from your future. It is either creating strength or inviting weakness. And unlike prescription drugs, this medicine is within your control, accessible to you at every meal, available without permission or prescription. So I want you to see your next meal differently, not just as fuel, not just as flavor, but as a contract with your future self. The plate in front of you is a promise. It says, I will protect you. I will strengthen you. I will make sure you live not only longer, but better. That is the highest form of health care, and it begins not in a hospital, but in your kitchen. Food is the preventive medicine your future is quietly begging you to take seriously. Answer that call today, and tomorrow will thank you in ways you cannot yet imagine.